The following is a presentation of the Eagles Sports Network.
You know, the cool thing about the 72 team was I think they were the first ones to play for a national championship. And so, you know, it's weird, like I come here in the 90s, but to have an opportunity to be able to communicate and talk with a lot of those different guys it's a testament to who we are at Carson-Newman, like to where the generations, you know, some kind of way continue to connect. I know Coach Turner played on that team. Lee Caldwell I talked to a lot. Ron Case was one of the coaches that was on that team, and so just to kind of like be in the loop with those guys and have them on campus this week is something I think that'll be unique and fun for, you know, our team. We always talk to them about the history of being at Carson-Newman. That's where we looked at. I read to them yesterday, you know, when we talked about playing Franklin Pierce last week, you know, the article that they released talked about it, Carson-Newman being, you know, one of the most prolific programs that they've played against. And so, you know, knowing that those guys were here and we're kind of a part of the start of that is something unique. I always talk about Dal Shealy, you know, how that connection between, you know, him coaching Coach Sparks and then coaching my high school coach and then being able to get here and when he was director of FCA and kind of connect those dots. We're looking forward to seeing those guys.
You talk about the pedigree. Have a chance for a pedigree moment Saturday. Going for program win number 650. Only three other schools have done that in Division II history: Pitt State, Tuskegee, and Hillsdale, and potentially Carson-Newman. How gratifying is it to be here and have a chance to be a part of that moment? You
know, that's new information for me. Like, you're rolling out the history book on me. But, man, it's something I think that, you know, it's a great opportunity, something else for our guys to buy into, to kind of be a part of the history here. You know, like you talked about history, you know, I had one guy tell me, you know, the key to history is his story. And we talked about them last week and making their light shine. And so, I mean, here's an instrumental moment where they have a chance to kind of, you know, collect a victory to put us in, you know, another category.
Limestone certainly seems improved from a year ago, broke a 12-game losing streak Saturday against St. Aug, and about as big a way as you possibly can, putting up 73 points. What do you see out of a familiar face? Mike Furry, the head coach there for 2 years in the middle of the 2010s, left to go back to Chicago to coach professionally, now returns. How are they similar? How are they different?
You know, it's you look at the matchup. I mean, it's really a close matchup between the two of us. I think they've, you know, got some older guys when you watch film now that you can see like they're better. You know, they've had a year just like we've had, and so they're better than they were a year ago. And I'm sure I didn't realize like that streak was what it was for them, but I'm sure for them last week to get the monkey off of their back, you know, and be able to move forward is something they're excited about. But the big thing for us is, you know, we talked about is continuing to get better every week. You know, when we look at our schedule, we feel like, you know, if we continue to work every week and get better and better, then we give ourselves a chance every week. And so, you know, our goal today and our goal when we step on the field every day this week is to make sure we're better than we were before we started practice. And so, you know, that's the landmark for us right now.
Trey Stewart, reigning SAC Offensive Player of the Week, 120 yards on 12 carries on the ground, caught 5 passes for 77 yards, highest yards per carry average in the league, above 8. What sticks out to you about his skill set in the backfield?
It's versatile. I mean, you talked about him being in the backfield. You talk about catching passes out of the backfield. You know, he's a versatile guy. You have to be aware of where he's at. You know, they'll try to do a couple things to get matchups that we've got to be conscious of getting the right people in the right place. But he's a really good athlete, good football player.
You talk about your own internal growth. Number one sticking point from last week that you look to get ironed out for week 3.
You know, we've got to eliminate mistakes. You know, we had a couple. That's where we always talk about what we left out there. You know, Coach Gosson, special teams, talking about, you know, there's a lot of things that we left out there from a special team standpoint. You know, there's a couple deep balls that we either overthrow or look the wrong way on that we've got to get cleaned up. You know, defensively, I thought we played well, but there's still a couple little squirt outs that we need to be able to get sealed. You know, we let a guy get behind us in coverage. So the biggest thing for us is just kind of creasing out the mistakes that we made to try to put a more complete game together.
2 weeks in, again, I know it's a small sample size, but who surprised you on your team through 2 weeks?
I think, when you look at the running back core, just to see that many guys carry the ball, Tyree Nelson, who didn't play a ton in the West Georgia game, to come in and be able to get 70 yards. Trey Abner didn't play as much as we want, but he still shows flashes. To get Ivan Corbin through a game offensively and see where he's at, he winds up being our player of the week here. Defensively, Jaheim Wilson up front just kind of continues to grow and develop and push. We're able to get Cottle and Dede both in the game this week, and just to see them come out and make play to give us the ball back, to give us opportunities, because that's one thing we talk about, creating opportunities for our offense. And then Callum Clements made a couple plays.
Is it gratifying to see Carson-Newman Football back atop the league in terms of rushing yards per game?
It is. It is. It's just you have to be able to run the football to be successful. And, that's one thing I preach over and over and over again. I mean, I coached offensive for a while, but I'm an old defensive guy. And I just know, in order to be successful, it doesn't matter how you're good at all this other stuff. Running the football allows you to control the game, allows you to control the clock. And that's something that we've got to be able to do to be successful.
Clock control is something that you did even against West Georgia, certainly did it against Franklin Pierce. Strangled the life out of the game a little bit. What's the feeling like when you're in that position to be able to grind down the final 6-7 minutes of the game with just a weathering drive?
It's important because that's the most frustrating thing for a defensive coach is when you feel like you're having a hard time stopping the run. Offensive guys get frustrated when they don't have the ball. And so, for you to keep it and keep it away from them is important. And then the next thing it does, it forces you to have to start making adjustments. You start putting 9, 10 guys in the box, and it opens up more stuff in the passing game. So, it's just it is good to see, the drive that we put together and being able to control the clock there is a positive.
After West Georgia, you talked about wanting to get more receivers outside of Braxton Westfield in the mix. You still got Braxton in the mix. He's on pace to have work into the top 20 most catches in a season by week 5 at his current pace. But against Franklin Pierce, you find 7 different pass catchers for the first time in 6 years. Is that just the execution of the game plan, or is that natural talent coming out in the passing game?
I think some of that, a couple guys like Corey Waters that, he didn't play in West Georgia. He's been around forever, played a little bit for us in 19. We felt like Corey's a guy that has a chance to have an impact season this year. And to get him on the field, he catches the ball at the end of the half and gets out of bounds and put us in position to be able to kick a field goal. Cade Meeks, guy we recruited in. Luke Simpson's been here forever, battled injury over the summer, but is a stable force. We still have a couple young guys that we like to be able to try to get the ball in their hands and see what they do with it. Just because the more people that you force the defense to have to defend, the less you allow them to sit in one place.